I would like to start making some of the chainmail, but I feel like the best way to do this would be to start by making the slug tail first so I can be sure I know what's being covered and what's not being covered. So I'm going to start off with a cube, scale that up, throw it inside here in the shell, and just start extruding the faces out. I'm going to turn off symmetry so I get the better control of the extrude tool. I think I'll just take it straight to the end, like that. Add a few edges inside. Here too. Soft select. I want the bottom to be a little flatter than the top, so I'm going to add edge loop down here near the bottom. Closer these edges are, the sharper this is going to be on the bottom. And smooth that. A little bit of extrusion right here. That much. Yeah, get some interesting shape on the bottom. Smooth it again. There we go. Now, it occurs to me that I probably don't want to be able to see inside of this right there. And this little bit of armor right there is not nearly enough to cover that up. So instead, I am going to redo that piece. Turn this off so I can actually see what's going on. There we go. Maybe, oh, I want to go the other way around. There we go. And I'm going to duplicate this for these faces. Shift P to unparent that and delete history. Just like that, and extrude these out a little bit. These are definitely not going to match up, but I can probably lift this, try to make them match a little bit better. And let's see here. Oh, I went all the way around to the other side. Extrude that out. Now, part up there isn't really what matters. What matters to me is everything down here. This move tool is pull these straight forward, up a little bit. Scaling them in. At least they'll match up down here. I think I'll bevel this edge right here to round it out a little bit. I'm going to do that again. There. Just make it a little more interesting shape. And I'm going to hang the chainmail from here to here. So maybe I'll just try to make it look like it's bolted on a few spots. So I'll start off with a plane. Do that. Something like that. It's not going to be able to go all the way back there because this doesn't go that far. This one, since there's nothing below it, should just hang straight down. This one, I'll pull out here a bit. Right at the intersection. I'll need some more edges in here sooner or later, but that's all right. Make little bolts for that. Don't need to be hyper detailed. They can be little spheres. So I can get away with making them low poly, and I can add more if I need to afterwards once I see what they look like. These don't even need to have all this extra geometry in the back. I can probably get rid of all this. Leave them flat. Oh, hard to see them doing. Everything's so close together right here. Just loop up here. There we go. That in mind, fatten up that tail a little bit more. Fill that space in better. All right, I'll grab these. I'll probably have to readjust these over here. Control G to group them. Control D to duplicate the group. And I'm just going to flip the group over with scale X. -1, and now it's over here. And that should not be the issue. This should be symmetrical. So, first of all, I'm going to get rid of the creases. I don't really need those anymore. No, there we go. And now I'm going to delete the left side and remirror it because apparently it is asymmetrical. Mesh. Mirror. Reduce the threshold a bunch. Oh, let's see if there's any errors in here. Yep. Some of these, sometimes things don't get merged the way they're supposed to. Check the back. Everything's gone correctly there at least. Check up here once again. That should go all the way through. Now that I've mirrored it, this should be the same right there. This should be the only part that I might have to change. Yep. I might grab all these, just make them slightly bigger, because it's kind of hard to make them sit like bolts in the top and go through the back. There. Grab this. I'm going to smooth this. There we go. Chainmail bolted on. Chainmail under the gloves and hands. I'll probably just be using copies of this. I'm going to do a file save now before I do anything else. Turn my symmetry back on. I'll make a couple changes to this. Got some geometry right around those knuckles right there, so I can bend them properly. Same thing with the thumb, although I don't have anything to work with right there, so I might just bevel that. There we go. Those, and duplicate these. Those would be my gloves inside the gauntlets. I might just draw over the rest of this so I have something to make slightly different geometry out of. Turn this to a live surface. Grab my hand, World X. All right. Yeah, I do want this to basically stay the same right here where the elbow is. Geometry for some of these wrinkly bits right here. I'll add some wobble to this. Never really liked the shoulder geometry they tend to give these things, so I'm gonna make my own. The shape's fine, but the geometry tends to get a bit weird. And I'm going to put you on that special little layer right here. So I can hide you. There we go. I do tend to make more geometry here than I need, just in case if things flex, you won't be able to see inside the object. There, wrinkles. Move them back and forth, all pushed out in the same direction that way. There we go. Now they look loose and baggy. I can do the same thing for legs. Now it's about here, and then this is where the boot will start. Put it a little bit below so I can cover it with the boot. Of course, I should probably hide this. See what I'm doing. It will be slightly uneven, so it'll higher the back wing in the front. I'll need a bit more here. Oh dear. Do I want to make a gap right here for this thing, or just let it sit on top of it? I might just ignore reality and let it work on its own without having to fight with it. I think what I'll do is, rather than rebuilding everything up here, because I'm happy enough with this geometry there, I'm going to copy some of this. Oops. That much. Mesh. That's down here. Duplicate. Unparent. Delete by type history. Put this back in the base layer. There you go. Just in case something happens again. There you go. And if I want to, I could take this into ZBrush later and sculpt more wrinkles into it so that I can make one side slightly different than the other side. But for now, I'll call that good enough. That's all the chainmail I plan on doing today. History, move everything from there for now. Something is in here and is acting weird. Oh, it's the rigid geometry stuff. You know what? I'm going to delete all that stuff. Don't need any of that anymore at this point, especially since I can always go back to a previous save for it, as well as the nucleus. Find the outliner. Nope, nothing else in there. All right. Delete history. Try to delete history on you too, just in case.
Unparent everything.
History again.
And then start clearing out. Oops, not the planes.
Not the planes. All this extra junk that's filling up the scene.
I don't remember putting the image planes in a group. Oh well.
Oh well.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. That's it for this video.